today we're looking at Decoy Voices. Japan finally fights back, and it's apparently about nuisance YouTubers who are causing issues in Japan by acting a fool and making people feel really uncomfortable. Let's check it out.
Nuisance content creators continue to plague Japan, as somehow the most interesting thing they can do for social media is making the Japanese uncomfortable. So much that there's now
Why?
posters specifically stating Japan is not a theme park
That's
directed at
so
somebody. So we'll go into the
embarrassing.
translations of those signs, how social media sites turn a blind eye to monetizing those unemployed behaviors, and why this is becoming such an issue that Japan had to make signs reminding people to have common decency. As the man that ran that TikTok has regular videos on YouTube where he sounds super reasonable, so it's confusing how he could be so short-sighted with his Japan antics.
I do not know who that previous YouTuber was that was causing trouble and acting a fool. I don't know who that is. But whoa, I guess I'm gonna figure it out.
As his group of
What is he
tourists
doing?
went to Japan to basically use
Oh my god. He's like a
their
nuisance
country
to
as a background
society.
for their mediocre dance moves.
What the
Now, I do
heck?
understand that there is an entire genre of dancing in public that thrives on social media,
That's
where they
different.
can get millions of views.
That's annoying when people do that. They just disregard all the people around them and like film shit because it might look kind of cool in the video, but I've seen like other perspectives where people are just like filming behind them and watching what they're doing. They're like taking up entire sidewalks. They're like just causing mayhem. They look totally stupid because you can't hear all the music when they're in person, you know? So they just look stupid. But this guy is being such a menace. He's like going up to people and like specifically targeting individuals and making them feel uncomfortable. That's totally different.
For doing so. And I'm obviously not doing videos criticizing those girls, not because of double standards, but because while on the surface they're all dancing in public to feature real-time reactions to their performances, it's just that these girls did it to feature the dances, while those TikTok tourists seem to feature the discomfort. As look at his view count when he's dancing in New York City, or bothering people in their subways. It's not notable, so nobody cares to
He
watch,
needs
which are
arrested.
terrible view counts for someone with nearly 2 million followers. But then he can get millions of
Wow.
views through nuisance content, as obviously
If people would just stop watching this kind of content, it would stop overnight.
everybody is uncomfortable with him.
That's
So
not
he
funny.
records, saves, and uploads this specific take to get the viewer engaged enough to watch the remaining 15 seconds of dancing. And his audience calls him out, saying this isn't New York City, begging him
Well, good.
to just leave these people alone, pointing out just because you can doesn't mean you should. And that wasn't the only
Right.
video featuring his team forcing random Japanese people to be in their TikToks, where it seems like cruelty is the content.
Yeah, look at that poor girl. That's a schoolgirl, dude. That's harassment.
And somehow TikTok looks the other way, labeling it as performed or supervised by professionals. Do not attempt. Just because
The guy behind the camera is a professional. Who's supervising? And how do you become a professional nuisance absolute menace?
you slap your Cash App in
Is
your
that something
profile
you
doesn't mean
earn
you're a
at
professional.
university?
And judging by their mediocre moves, even by TikTok standards, I don't think these are professional dancers. They're just bullies, as these
Like you're a professional nuisance. That's all you are. And how do you even dub yourself that? You earned the degree. You studied nuisancing?
grown men only seem to want to bother the students, as
Yeah.
this dude seems to be keeping a careful eye on them while grabbing his girl, and they never seem to bother anybody like that. Not to mention all the girls holding their skirts, as their signature move is sliding towards strangers.
Well, he's literally laying on the ground where he can see right up him. What the heck?
Now, I would like to think that that wasn't the intention.
Like, imagine if a grown ass adult in America slid up to a bunch of school age kids where they could look up their skirts. Like, who does that? Interacts with a bunch of kids.
But intention and interpretation can be completely different, especially when you're a foreigner that doesn't even speak the language. As all these poor girls see are these very large men sliding towards them, not only disrespecting their cultural norms, but her personal boundaries as well. So she doesn't know what he might do next, as you don't need to speak Japanese to know this means leave me alone. And I just can't imagine anybody that's trying to build their brand online recording this,
That's not.
uploading
How does he think that that's funny? His t-shirt says scream. She looks like she wants to scream inside.
it and not understanding that this is going to forever ensure you will never land anything legitimate, as no brand or dance company in the world is going to take a risk on this resurfacing. And if this was just a one-off incident, maybe I could somewhat understand how they didn't realize Japan is in New York City. But judging by his TikTok page, which is in reverse chronological order, the video of them bothering people in the Japanese subway got millions of views. So they immediately returned to it, and keep in mind there was other subway footage that has since been removed. And what's worse is other clout-chasing idiots see these videos going viral, so they copycatted those actions in other Asian countries right after. This
Wow.
just sets the terrible precedence of tourists treating
I don't know again what his name was, but there was a YouTuber who acted a fool in one of these other Asian countries and he actually got arrested and he actually got sent to prison. I'm just saying, Japan, you need to get a backbone. Do more than put up a sign.
high trust societies like Korea or Japan as a playground and the only way they can finally get people to pay attention to them, further deepening Japanese people's prejudices against us. As Japan straight up has a MAGA movement now, where I don't know if they just like the concepts of borders, conservatism overall, or maybe just the memes.
They want their people to not be harassed and made fun of. They want respect, man.
But we're now seeing posters saying no circus performances
This is
here
sick.
in both Japanese and English, saying Japan is not a theme park, crossing out a guy with a very specific haircut not commonly known to the Japanese. Also posting a sign that definitely couldn't be made in America, illustrating 3 individuals bothering an otherwise peaceful subway car that roughly translates to have manners, be aware of your surroundings, and care about the people around you. Specifically, be quiet in the car. Now, I know people would be offended by their particular choices in animals, but I really wonder if whoever made this poster did it specifically to drive a point home, as anybody posting this in a Western country would immediately be fired. But although docile in public, Asian countries don't quite have the same chill as we do here. And judging how that poster was mainly written in Japanese, it makes me think they
I don't think it's because of their race. I think that the pixelated characters are monkeys. I think that's but it's I mean, okay. Yes, there is a stereotype where people have made fun of black people for acting like monkeys, but I don't think that's what they're trying to do. I don't think they're trying to say you monkeys. I think it's more like you guys are monkeying around on the subway. Stop causing a fool. Stop acting a fool, causing trouble, monkeying around. I think that's it. Because the monkey is like the fool. It's the one. It's symbolism, right? I don't think they're being racist. I think they're being, because you see other animals there too. They're not all one race of animal. You know what I mean? It's like you got the quiet one, you got the other respectful quiet one, and then you got the monkey just making noise and it's not a race thing, I don't think.
were exclusively communicating the message through the illustrations. As we have seen similar signs in New York City, showing an obviously Asian woman bothering what looks to be a Middle Eastern man, which is an interesting choice of representation, as I haven't been there in a while, but I don't recall there being an abundance of rambunctious Asian girls on the subway, so much that would warrant printing out and posting a sign.
Hey, bro, I don't run no damn until look at that. Time for the birthday. 3 times for the birthday.
Okay, so maybe things have changed. The point being, it's not a race thing, it's a culture thing. And for a lot of those Japanese kids being bothered in those TikToks, they might have encountered 100 Americans that look just like that dancer, but they're probably only going to remember the one that slid to.
What's really sad is when they get home and they tell their parents the story about what happened to them on the subway. Are their parents going to be afraid to let them go by themselves because they might run into a crazy American? That's sad. Like, they're ruining Japanese culture. They're making people afraid to do things, probably. Like, that girl that had her, like, let me see if I can find her. She looked all sad and she was, like, hiding in the corner while that guy was bothering her. Yeah, this girl right here. That's sad, man. That's gonna cause her trauma. She's scared now. That's not okay.
towards their skirt, especially if he goes viral on social media, bringing in an entire wave of copycats, all desperately trying to cash out on that nuisance clout, which is forcing the Japanese to actually change the laws for all foreigners. As one of my favorite corners of YouTube is those walking through Japan in 4K videos, as it just looks so peaceful and clean,
It
making me
does.
incredibly jealous that Los Angeles doesn't look like.
But it's starting to look like Los Angeles. I saw this one video recently where, you know, the vending machines that are on every corner in Japan? Somebody broke into them. Like, literally broke them open, and there were just trash on the street. That's why we have to lock everything up in America and put things behind bars because these dumbasses go around and just start breaking shit open. That was a great thing about Japan. It was so safe. And everybody followed the rules. And now you have these absolute menaces going over there and like ruining the culture for everybody? Come on now.
This. So I hope that one day I'd make enough money to go visit, having unique adventures like Mario Karting through Tokyo, until I understood how much the locals actually hate it, as I imagine if I was late to work in my hometown and a bunch of hooligans were holding up traffic, treating my morning commute like a playground, I'd be pretty annoyed too, so I'd respect the country enough not to do it, as we want to visit the Japan seen in that serene 4K footage, not a Japan filled with American idiots screeching through the streets pretending they're Luigi. But it's always the tourists that demand you respect their culture that never stop to think if they're disrespecting yours. As that rail company in Japan actually considered legal actions against the TikTokers.
Right.
Other American tourists are getting arrested
They should be
over
arrested.
their antics, while the Japanese city.
You know, if Japan came out with like a tattle app and Japanese people could just download it, and when they see somebody acting like a fool, they could just like push a button and like immediately notify police. It would call police to their location. That would solve it, right?
He had to block the view of Mount Fuji to stop the foreigners from visiting, as the actions of a few short-sighted, selfish people can really ruin society for everybody. And the saddest part about all of this is it was literally for nothing, because I'd like to say I know a bit about becoming a social media influencer at this point. And what these nuisance streamers or content creators don't understand is going viral for something that you can't or wouldn't want to replicate is worse than not going viral at all. You can build a base of subs that enjoyed seeing you doing something stupid, but unless you want to progressively do stupider things to maintain that audience, you can't pivot into anything you'd actually be proud of as.
Yeah, and so many people are gonna just dislike this idiot because of the things that he's chosen to do. That's how we're gonna judge him. That's how we're gonna see him forever. No matter what he tries to do in the future, he's always gonna be the idiot who just harasses people on the train. He wasn't thinking, was he?
You effectively train the algorithm that you only appeal to an audience of degenerates, forever immortalizing your idiocy to those millions of viral views. And I do these videos covering unemployed behaviors, not necessarily to dunk on anybody, but to hopefully show them the bigger picture and possibly prevent the next generation of nuisance streamers. But more importantly, to protect what's left of Japan before I can finally save enough to go visit. So if you appreciate my.
Yeah, so really quick, let me search this up. Japan vending machine broke open. Broke into? I don't know, maybe this'll. I wonder if I can find the vending machines. Maybe if I look at Japan vending machines destroyed. Where's the video that I saw the other day? Weird. I saw it on X. Nobody's put it on here? Interesting. Well, yeah, but you can literally find vending machines on every single corner in Japan. So it would be a darn shame if they started locking them up or taking them off the streets because people are being absolute nuisances, right? What is that? Cake in a can. Look at that. That's so cool. So let's look up what are. Let me. What are craziest things in Japanese vending? I spelled that wrong. Oh well. Let's try this out. 10 craziest things.
Japan is obsessed with vending machines, having the
Wait.
highest per capita
Wait.
rate of...
Wait, let's give credit. Who is this? Brilliant News. 10 craziest things you can buy in Japanese vending machines. Okay.
these autonomous pantries in the world. From drinks to, well, some very odd items.
Ooh.
You can get it all in a
Look at all
Japanese
that.
vending machine.
Brilliant news!
Number 1. Smart car. Ever
Oh.
find yourself in Japan having just left your
It's like a
apartment and
Carvana?
realizing you've forgotten your car? Luckily, as always,
I hate it when
Japan
that
has a vending
happens.
machine for everything.
What the
Okay,
hell?
This vending machine is more of a
Yeah, that's not
publicity
real.
stunt and a homage to Japan's vending machine culture.
That's
if
cool,
you
though.
do try to buy one, the machine issues you with a
But America has a real one. If you guys have never seen a Carvana vending machine, you are missing out. Those things are awesome.
tube full of pamphlets. Number 2. Self-freezing Coca-Cola. In Japan, they have Arctic Coke vending machines, where your bottle of Coke appears to be at a normal cool temperature. But when you open it up and give it a shake, it magically turns into a slushie. It took them 8
What?
years to perfect this freeze-on-demand magic trick.
How? Cool.
Number 3. Puppies.
I'll try that.
In
They do
downtown
not.
Roppongi, Tokyo, after grabbing a quick self-freezing Coke, you can casually buy a couple of
They do
puppies.
not have
too.
puppies.
The sale of these adorable companions has been banned in pet shops across most of the US and the UK. So seeing the poor pups in a
Isn't that,
vending
like,
machine
cruelty?
is now even more shocking.
What?
Number 4. Girls' phone numbers. Sure,
I would want to know, like, what are the intricacies to having puppies in vending machines? How do you do that? Right? What if they run out of food or water? Somebody has to come by and check on them daily to keep them alive, right? Do they have oxygen in there? What is going on?
this might sound attractive for a second to all of Japan's timid shut-ins, too shy to ask a girl for her number in person, but these numbers are most likely chat line numbers. You know,
No.
the kind
No, I think that if you're a shut-in and you're too shy to ask for someone's number yourself, you are way too shy to call someone's number that you don't know from a vending machine.
you might find inside a phone box with extortionally high rates. Imagine having to pay to get that number. Number 5. Flying fish soup.
Ew.
Some people grab an energy drink to power through their commute to work. Others grab a bottle of warm fish soup. Despite looking like some
Gross.
prehistoric energy drink with a whole flying fish in
Do they drink the juice around the fish and just throw the fish away? Or do they bite into the fish? Inquiring minds want to know.
there, it's actually intended as a broth to take home and pep up your rice or noodles.
Oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense,
Number
but still
6.
gross.
Used
No,
girls'
no.
Okay, you've probably heard of this one
Ew.
before. These aren't just girls' pants, which is
Gross.
way more understandable. You're in a skirt, you've sat on something wet, you need some fresh underwear. Sure. But no, these are already used
Ugh.
panties.
Ugh.
The target consumer here is usually male and has a much more seedy use in
Yuck.
mind.
Take that face
Number
off.
7.
Ew.
Fast food. Being in a hectic city like Tokyo, the chances are you're in a hurry too. So if getting your lunch from a fast food restaurant just isn't fast enough, you're in luck. In just 1.5 minutes, this machine in Akihabara can present you with an alright tasting hot beef burger at any time of the day or
What?
night. Number 8. Lettuce.
Lettuce?
Okay, this one doesn't sound too crazy at all. Lettuce. Yeah, what? I can buy lettuce in any supermarket. But this $90,000 vending machine actually grows the lettuces right inside
Oh,
itself. It's
that's kinda
capable
cool.
of farming 60 lettuce heads a day,
Hydroponic.
thanks to its non-stop powerful fluorescent lights. Number 9. live lobster.
Okay,
You might
what?
have seen a lobster tank in fancy restaurants where you can choose what lobster you're going to eat. Sure, but the enterprising Japanese business mind thought, what if we didn't have to pay someone to pull the lobster out of the tank? What if we
Ew.
didn't even have to pay the chef? What if we didn't even have to have a restaurant? And best of all, what if the buyer only has a slim chance of bagging one of the lobsters?
It's
And
a
so the
claw
live
machine
lobster
game?
claw machine was
That is
born.
wild.
Number 10. Mystery Box. Another clever idea is the mystery box vending machine. A load of boxes full of hidden treasures. Anything could be in them, right? What if you got an expensive
Whoa.
ornament that was worth millions? The likelihood, however,
Now, I saw another YouTuber who actually opened some of these mystery boxes one time, and she just got cookies. It wasn't special. It was just wafers or something.
is that it's just a wrapped up snack that would usually have
Yeah.
cost less than $1, and you just paid $5. Which one of these crazy machines surprised you?
That is insane. I think the underwear is probably the nastiest. I guess it's not so surprising because people can be nasty, but ew. That would gross me out the most. But I think the wildest one is the lobster claw machine. That's insane, but very cool. All right, that's all for today, guys. Bye!